Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Hi, my name is Sarah Hughes, and I'm part of Kandy's Customer Experience and Channel Marketing organization. So happy to have you, and welcome to the next Kandy Fireside Chat. Our topic today is billing, reporting, and analytics. So just a little housekeeping, this is being recorded, and if you would please go ahead and ask your questions in the chat, and I'll pause at different intervals and make sure we answer your questions. So without further ado, again, welcome, and we'll be going over again billing, reporting, and analytics on the Kandy platform. Just again, from the billing standpoint, we're going to talk about how you can utilize some of the Kandy files and inputs and apply them into your billing processes. We'll also talk about call detail records and how you can get access to those. We'll also cover reporting, dashboard reports, extracting reports, sending them to a server for your pickup and other teams usage. And then we'll talk quite a bit about analytics that we have in the platform and leave room for question and answer. Again, if you have questions, do put them in the chat and then I'll answer them as we go along. At the end of this, I said it is being recorded, and we'll also provide the slides to this along with it. So let's start off with billing. Each Kandy partner is really meant to do the billing for your customers. So Kandy will not bill your customers for you. Let's make sure that's very clear, but we'll give you the input files for you to be able to do that. Why is that? Because there's so many different billing mechanisms, billing platforms that many of our partners use. And so we want to make sure that we go through in this session and help you understand what those are, how to read those, and then how to take this information and put that into there. Well, if your billing system is already set up, this could also be a way for you to reconcile those and a good troubleshooting tool as well. So there's kind of two methods here. The first of which on the left-hand side of the screen is where you would actually use the files that we provide. Now, we bill you based upon these same files, and so this will also help you understand how we're billing you. And then the second of which is using your own offboard tools, your own mechanisms to do that. So what we have is every month, the system will write a file called the customer usage file. And we bill you based upon that for your partner usage. And that has everything in there, all the costs that we have in agreement with us. Similarly to your customers, your downstream resellers and customers, it has all of your pricing to them. And so it's a great tool to do that. We'll be going through and breaking that down here in a bit. But you can then take that as a baseline and allow your OSS, BSS, operations and business support tools to pick that file up in a location or feed to it, either one. And then you can extract that and manipulate that however you see fit. And so you can extract it through our APIs. You can go into administration and download it yourself, or you can set up a secure file transfer protocol location, a server location that it can pick it up as well. So we'll be breaking that down in this session. And then the second method, if you do that, it doesn't use any of the Kandy files at all. Maybe you have a front-end service creation platform, or your sales and operations teams are inputting stuff into that, and then maybe it's tied into your CRM platform, customer relationship management platform. And it assumes that all the provisioning is done through that. And maybe it can use APIs to Kandy to go do the provisioning for you. But you would use your own OSS, BSS tools to invoice your customers. You're probably doing that today. But you can still utilize these files and offboard them or offload them to some location that your support and implementation teams and even your operations, your billing operations or sales operations teams could utilize. Now, if you have anybody that's doing direct provisioning into the admin, not going through your service creation platform to do that, then there may be excuse me, there may be differences in your bill. And so making sure it's either all one way or the other, or you make sure those that direct provision, if it has a billing impact, that they make sure that they put that into your service creation as well, or your tools. But anyway, I think it's very valuable that you see what we have here and that you can better understand it. So within the admin portal, first of all, you have to have a login and rights and privileges to this. So you start up at account, and then you click over into files on that. And then there is a tab called Billing Sftp. This is how you can set up to where every month these files will get loaded into a server location at your offices or where you're within your network that you can control. And so in here, you have to put in an IP address of the server. Maybe there's a port number, again, trying to make this as easy for your network team as possible. Is there a user ID and password to log in to get credentials into that location? Is there a certain time zone for the CDR that you want it in? How frequent? Is it daily or hourly? And then you could have a different path for the call detail records than the invoices. And the difference between that is the invoices are everything that's in the billing folder. Okay, so we'll look at file storage, and there's some folders in there, and that's the billing folder. So for you as a partner doing this, you're going to see the customer usage monthly file for your reseller account. Okay, and then for each customer that you have underneath that, you'll have a product usage report, a subscriber detail report, and a ramp report. We're going to go through those in detail here as well. But not only you as a reseller can set this up, each individual customer that you create, if they want their own product usage, subscriber detail, ramp report, that kind of stuff at their location so that they can reconcile their bills, then you can set it up that way too. So again, at the reseller level, and then for each individual customer, you can also have this SFTP set up as you go in and build the customer. Now, if you just left click and filter into the customer, you're not going to see account. You would need to right click, which is the masquerade, and then you would see account, and you could set these up. You probably may still see SFTP in there, but being able to access records and branding and other things like that. So within the dashboard, okay, when you log in, the very first thing that you see is dashboard. If you've got an admin access that gives you that you see order, customer note, that kind of thing. Some login credentials only give you notices, but depending upon your credentials, the order portion of that, this is where the reports are that you can go in and download from the dashboard. So then the third thing you do is click this switch report, and then it will, at the partner level, it will provide 8 or 9 reports in addition to the one that's currently being shown. In this example, I'm showing you the order report, but then you see cost breakdown, customer usage, financial summary, and so on. We're going to break those down. All right, if you click one, and for instance, this is the customer usage file, then it will open that up. So everything you see here instead of orders would be customer usage. And then you have the ability to select a particular month, and you can even download it. You can type in the search window if you're looking for a certain thing, whatever. But this is a way with your admin login that you're able to go in and say, I just want February 2022, and I can go back and do that. So these are, I call them ad hoc, but they're already there. They're stored in the file storage, but it just makes it a little bit easier for some people. So again, we're going to go through all of these different reports here. So we're going to start with the customer usage because it is so important. And there are a few things in the customer usage that you should understand, and how, as you create customers, how it impacts the flags that you set, okay? So the first of which is the customer name, and you can see here it's, I have some examples, this one, a very good company, you can see that's probably made up, and a few others here. But that comes from when you create the customer, okay? Here's the customer creation. and we said business name. So that is what shows up here under customer name. So that's why it's so important if you're going to automate your billing to make sure that that matches the purchase order or the contract or any of that. And then something else that you can use is the customer identifier. When you create a customer, this is an open alphanumeric field that you can put your customer ID in. And that could be from your CRM. Let's say you use Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics or Sugar or anything, ServiceNow. And you could put the customer ID there. Then it will automatically populate in these in the customer usage file, which when your billing system picks that up, then it can key off of this is the customer itself, that consistent number. There are other things in here, billing enabled, disabled. Now, we will bill you for everything that shows in here based upon a few factors, but this billing disabled and enabled is based upon your creating the customer and saying, is this a trial customer, a test customer, a demo customer? Then mark it as billing disabled so that your billing platform can disregard those. All right. But if it is billing enabled, then you definitely are going to bill this customer for that. Okay, the next two items in here are your product names for your SKUs and your products themselves. So as those products are created, as those SKUs are created, the SKUs themselves should match the nomenclature in your billing platform. It's a good idea to, as you're creating products and SKUs in our platform, that you make sure that those can be billed for the, if it needs dashes or it can't do underscores or it can't do so many letters or characters, those kind of things are different restrictions on different platforms. So making sure that the SKU and the name coincide with that. Some billing platforms, the name of the SKU or whatever has to be a certain character length and no more or less kind of thing. But those are based upon your billing platform needs. And so the SKU name can be changed after the fact, but the SKU number cannot. And you'll see here there's one that's called distribution or unified or voice. Most of the time you don't see those as the same. One is some kind of alphanumeric, and then the other is a description of that. And the descriptions that you have, make sure that those are clear enough so that they show up in billing, that they don't have things that do not use or something like that, that you think nobody's going to see it, but it will appear down in your billing and in admin. Okay, as we go through this, I've just kind of squinched it over. It's a good East Texas term. I've just kind of moved it over because this is a long, many columns in here. So the SKU, the description. The next thing is the number of licenses. And then the for this one, this is cost. Okay, so from us to you, or the partner cost here. And then the cost type, there are one of 6 different types. So let me explain these to you. So OTC is a one-time charge, and so that is not a monthly recurring type of thing. It would be for a setup or something like that. What you'll see most of the time are ST or PR. ST are standard, and that means it's going to be a monthly recurring. And you'll always notice, and I mention this in a moment, but the STs always start out at the first of the billing cycle. And for the majority of you, this is the first of the month. And you'll always see it say monthly on that because we bill in advance of the month. The standard discount, we may have applied a discount to that particular business or a SKU itself. The PR is proration. That means that, and you can see PR here is prorated. If billing proration is enabled, and that is also in the customer, when you create the customer, are you going to enable prorations? Then when they add a subscriber or a SKU, an add-on, or make a change, add or delete, you'll see that as PR prorated, you'll see this show up as added or removed, and then you'll see the date that that occurred. Now, this one actually happened on the 1st of February, and so it's a true up. So the customer usage file has, at the beginning of the month, it will automatically put an ST or a standard for everything that's provisioned on the 1st of the month. But it will also look back at the previous month and will say, okay, what happened after the billing file was written? So anything that was provisioned after that, let's say from the 2nd of the month through the end of the month, will be on the customer usage file as well. So it will be billing in advance, but it will also be a true up of anything that occurred from the previous billing. Okay, so if I added 5 subscribers on the 5th, in this case, this is the March 1 report. In February 15th, I added 5 new subscribers. You would see it as a proration entry in the March 1 after it had happened. And we also have zero cost and zero cost expired. Zero cost means that maybe we've zeroed out a demo account or something like that for you, a lab environment. Or zero cost expired means that it was a trial and the trial was over with, and so now after that point everything it's expired from the trial, so it would be at regular charge. So the cost rate is really important because 1 equal 100% of the month. So you'll notice on these prorations, in my example, the 5th of the month or the 15th of the month, I had 5 subscribers added or removed. So then there's some math to that. So what we do here in order to get total cost is we take quantity times cost times the cost rate. Okay, so that equals total cost. But when there are prorations, then it's a percentage of the month, not the entire month. So you'll see that in a moment. So here is a proration, and you'll notice that this particular one was on February 1. So that PR, the proration is a full month because it was on there, and you'll see that it's added. You'll also see, here's an example at the bottom of the screen where I had some prorations that were not a full one, but a point something, a 0.21. And so these were added on February 23rd. So versus being added on February 1st, the 1st of the month, they would get billed for the whole month. And again, those are the true ups that happen in this. So how the proration math is done is this particular one here would be the 23rd of the month minus the 1st. Okay, so how many days? That's 22 days in there. And so we need to then, it was added on the 22nd or the 23rd here, but it's 22 days. We need to subtract that from 1 minus 22 divided by the number of days of the month. In February, there were 28 days. Leap years, there's 29. So that's how we get the 0.21 here. And you'll notice it shows up in the cost rate, and it also shows up in the rate here. These are the same number, and they always should be. Okay, so that's how we do the math there. And so breaking this down further, as we look at price, so this is either the price that you're selling it at, or if it's a downstream reseller or a downstream customer, this is your customer's price. Okay, so in this example, if this is a very good partner, is who this is an example, this would be the partner's cost, but then the partner's price or the customer's cost, the enterprise cost or the business cost in there. And again, you see the total price is the customer's cost. So, and again, it is the quantity times, so that 1 quantity times price times rate is equal to total price in this. Okay, so if you don't see prorations, then that means that you don't have prorations enabled for the customer. And again, the ST are the standards what are at the 1st of the month. billed for everything that's provisioned on the first of the month. And so that's billing in advance. And then the PRs are the true ups from the previous month. And so anything happened after billing was written in the previous month would be any changes, moves and adds or deletions in there. And so it would either show added or removed. And it will always show the date that that occurred, and you'll typically see a rate and a cost rate change to that. So the other values that you see in here are peak usage. That means the maximum quantity that was provisioned. And you'll also see in-use total. So that's what's currently in use at the time that this was written, and then, or the time that this occurred. And then you'll see inventory total, which is the numbers when you, or the inventory itself, when you increment order, it's how many licenses that you have set aside to be provisioned. And if you, believe I set it up here too, that on the inventory piece of that, I think I show you in another screen, that's what, if you have inventory, then you'll see it in admin as you provision subscribers to be able to select from, but I show that in another slide here. All right, so in call detail records, this is outputted into, an ASCII, comma separated file, and they're sent either hourly or daily based upon what you've set up in the Sftp. And I believe for every site, you will have an additional file for them. And I have created within the partner portal, in fact, I'll drag it over here. There is within the knowledge base portion of that. So I'm showing you our Kandy partner portal, and under support, there is, under the knowledge base, Kandy billing best practices. Within this, you can download this particular file, and it will show you some the CDR, some information, like all the different fields for that. So you can see the type of field, the field link, the field description, and what that is, and different values that could be in that. So this goes on quite a while. It also shares some more enterprise administration statistics and other things that we're going to be showing today, but it's also a handy reference for you even to share with some of your customers if needed. But that best practices file is there for you. So you can take a look at that. I've put a link here within this webinar so that you can see that, and even after the fact. And like I said, it does have the raw CDR fields and descriptions. Now, why would you need that? So that if you set up the Sftp to post this either hourly or daily to that server location, then your billing system would need to know the field name, the field type, the length, and what it is in order to pick that up and use that with the billing. So if you're not billing off of the CDR here, then you can definitely use this, store it somewhere and then use it to go back and troubleshoot as well. So it's pretty handy either way. Highly recommend that you offload that. So let's go into reporting. And again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat here. So I think there was a question about, is the CDR format fixed or can it be customized? It is fixed format. So use what you need, don't use the rest of it, but it is in fixed format. Okay, on reporting, we have multiple ways for you to look at the reports in Kandy, and they can help you better decipher and understand your business, what you're doing with our products, and what your end customers are also consuming and using with their business with you. They can also help you look at financial data. They can help you analyze trends and details to help you make better decisions in the future. And you have several different ways that you can pull this information. One I mentioned is the secure file transfer protocol, where you have everything dropped into a server location and then your tools can pick that up. You can also have these reports emailed to you. So if you are, maybe you can set them up even for your customer. Maybe you don't want, or they don't want to have to log in, or maybe they don't have an admin login, enterprise admin login, then you can have them emailed. If the accounting and billing team don't have an admin access, then you can have the reports emailed to them. And then through the admin portal, I've mentioned a few of these. We'll go through them in more detail, but also within the APIs, you can extract these as well. And I'll show you where that's at. So again, within the Sftp, don't forget that under account, files, billing, Sftp, you can set them up to offload to a location. That's everything that's in the billing folder. And then if you set up scheduled reports, these can also be done through metrics, schedules. You go in and add a schedule. I like to choose the report type and then name it, and you choose email. Then you would choose, obviously put your email in here, and then you can set up the schedule, how often and when it should end, if ever. And some of these reports, okay, once you save it, some of these reports allow you to download it at any time. So you go to this scheduled report page and you can download it from there. Others, you actually have to have it emailed. And then there's one in particular that would only support SFTP method. But each of these, you know, can be SFTP'd, can be set up to email either one. Okay. Through the admin portal, I think we've looked at a few of these as well, but we're going to look at the formats of them. In our documentation, we do explain the different fields, but I am going to go through them here. Some reports do have graphical displays, and like the call statistics or the ramp report kind of deal. So as you're in it and you hit download, if you hit download at the top, then you would see just, you know, that graph, but there's an area at the bottom as well. So we'll go through that. And then also through API, we use REST APIs. And so you would have to create an admin user with the API capabilities. And then there's API documentation, and APIs are application programming interfaces so that people can set up to extract the data and use that. So the Kandy APIs are another great way for you to create dashboards and other things for your end customers. So there are several types of reports here. There's an order report, a financial summary report, there's a ramp report, there's a revenue versus cost report, there's a product usage, a cost breakdown, a customer usage, which we've just gone through, and then a customer summary report, and then a trial summary report. So you'll notice here those that have a asterisk, that means they can be generated and downloaded also through the APIs, some of which you'll see the customer dashboard can see this one, as well as the order report and the ramp report. Okay. So let's look at a few of these. Again, the dashboard reports, you go to order, you know, switch report, you've got different ones, some of which you have different actions. For instance, this one being the order report, you can show orders incoming, outgoing. You can add orders, increment or decrement, and then the display graphic would give you a visual indication of over a time period what has occurred. Many of these have page navigation at the top and have the ability to download them. Anytime you see this, it allows you to download the report, and you can enter search criteria there too. Within the cost breakdown report, this is where you can pull down and you can see previous months. Again, you can download and search. You can see each of your customers. You can see your SKUs and names, the quantity, you know, remember the cost type, and the type being standard or prorated is what you'll probably see most, your cost and your price out to them. and this is from a partner level. And then you could see any of the proration dates as well. So this is, again, the cost breakdown, breaking down your cost by SKU and showing your price. If you put price in the portal, then it will show that. If not, you would have to extract that, and then you can put your prices in. The customer usage report, we've already gone through this, but again, through the dashboards, you can see customer SKU name, not only your cost, but your price outward, the rate, and then total cost, total price. Those are in different columns than they were in the other, and then the prorated in there. And again, you can look back in time, easy peasy to do, and download it from here. The cost breakdown report will give you your cost and your price and your prorated. That was the example that I had shown there. And again, you can go back from previous ones, and you can see by the customer and the products that they have. Well, this particular one also had a proration in there, so that's why it's in there twice. The financial summary report is an ad hoc report, so it's not going to give it to you over time. It's going to say at this present moment, here's what is provisioned. For each customer that you have or partner, you're going to see the number of subscribers. And if you have put in different, like your pricing and that kind of stuff in here, you'll be able to see your margin as well as your ARPU. We didn't put any pricing information in here. This is more or less a lab to kind of show that. Bob's Veggie Stand, isn't that kind of funny? Then the order report. So I use the order report frequently to go back and kind of pull the threads of what happened into a particular company. And so you can look at the order report. It gives you the order number, any label. So if you've put a description on that order, initial order, or adding agents, or whatever it is, the customer, if it was an increment or a decrement, the value, if it was fulfilled or not, if it was awaiting funds, you would see that too, and then the last change. So you can open up orders for any customers that you have not deleted, and then you can go in and see what happened. This label, again, is a text field that you can put information in, and then put in, you can see what occurred in it. So on the order management, again, you have the pull down on the actions for incoming or outgoing. When you add order, what it does is it adds it to the supply, to the inventory. And here's a snapshot of fulfillment inventory. And you can see how many it has in supply. In use means it's been provisioned, and available means it's going to show up for you to be able to provision it. So if I needed to add, let's say, more of the Voice Plus in this example, you'll notice I have none available. So it will not show up whenever I am provisioning subscribers, and I can't find it in the list. So that means I need to increment, add inventory for that, and then it will be made available for me. And then the bottom area would be displaying the graphics and all. Under the product usage report, that particular report does have all your SKUs and the names of those SKUs, does have the quantity, what happened, if it was added, if it was removed, and then it also has the type, the rate, and any proration information. So this is a good one if you're wanting to look at by product and what's been used. Then under the ramp report, this will tell you over the last 12 months for each ramp report each month. And so you have different months in here that you can go back and forth, and when you download it, you'll see it. But I typically look at subscribers, and you can see what's currently and what happened in the previous months. So that's a good one. And this is up at the top. You can pull down and download this report here or here. They're two different reports basically. And then you can look back in time as well, or minimize this. And below this will tell you, what's made up of those. Are they subscribers? Are they group features? That kind of thing in it, and what was enabled during that month. The revenue versus cost report is one that will give you, you'll toggle this, show revenue, it'll show if you put your pricing in here, show cost. This is showing the cost for each SKU. And again, you can download this, your average price per month and total in there because of prorations. And it also has a graph at the top. And then within admin, under account, under file storage, there is a billing folder, and then there are other folders in there too. But as a partner, you're going to see product usage ramp, subscriber detail, and then all dash. These are all reports that are able to go in and just right click and download it from there. You can do it through the dashboard, or they're all in the Sftp. As a customer or an organization, either one, they're going to see product ramp and subscriber detail. And again, these are written one time a month, so you can't generate them ad hoc other than the subscriber detail report, but one time a month, and most of the time that's at the beginning of the month. We have a few partners that their billing is set up a little bit different, a different day of the month. And then to set up scheduled reports, we went through this briefly a minute ago, but it's pretty easy. And again, just go into metrics, schedules, add a schedule. You pull down and there's a ton of different report types in there. And I'm going to show you what those are, and choose how you want to have them delivered, SFTP or email, and then put in your email address. And then whenever you hit save report, of course you could say when you want it and all, hit save report, then it will show you in the list if it succeeded in there or if there was a problem. Many of them you can download. Here's a matrix showing you all the different reports, what they do, if they are scheduled, all of them are, and which ones can be run ad hoc. We've recently added one called the Edr Report, and that is the event detail records. And those are even our CDR records are event detail records converted to be CDR. So that's the beginning of that. And if you want that, those can only be done through SFTP. And the portal guide for organizations will give you all the field details. And of course, I'll have some of those as well at the back matter here for you to look at. So let's go through what these scheduled reports look like. So the call statistics report is a matrix report that will just give you a summary, okay? It'll tell you how many attempted, completed, abandoned, failed types of reports, the average ringing and length of call, percentage call answered, and then it'll be based upon the days that you say. All right, and then they'll give you percentage of calls answered, grand totals, and all of that. If you want the actual details, then you're going to do, these are two different reports that are in the scheduled area, call statistics detail. And this will tell you the start and end time, the answer time. End time is when hang up, answered, between start and answered is your ring, the calling party who made the call, who they called, the connected party is the SIP user ID and what happened to it, if there was a failure code, if it was on net or off net. Okay, so those are reports that can be run anytime. They're not just the first of the month, they're anytime you want. There are other call reports that are based upon the type of call: inbound, outbound, internal calls, external calls. Inbound means ringing in, outbound means make a call out. Internal means I call somebody within my business, or a call either incoming or outgoing from external. So it summarizes those, and you can see the different fields in that, so that you may want to see how many that you have in or out. The subscriber details report is one that you could go into drill down into a company. You can go into fulfillment subscribers and you could download it right from there, okay? Or you can go here and you can create a scheduled report to have it emailed to you once a month, however often, for the entire accounts, all the accounts that you have, or an individual customer. You'd have to filter down on that individual customer, you go into that one particular So I've just kind of scrolled this around to help you see all the different fields. So you see first name, last name, user ID. If you completed the field, it's optional, called role, it would show here what subdomain, any of your SKUs that you added to them, the telephone number. If you see this pipe, which is the up and down bar, that means more than one thing was assigned to them. So this particular person here had this SKU and another SKU right after it. If you've stacked telephone numbers, same thing onto the user. You'd see them all listed here. And the DID billing type, alias is the extension, if there was a mobile number provided, email, and the status of them is either active or inactive. As you know, we have a feature that you can start off inactive, and then when you deploy them, you can make them active. The call permissions, what are you going to allow them to dial? Here is international and PSTN. If it was station to station, internal only, it would be SIP. What the public number is, the time zone, location, if they've got a client, their language. You need call grabber numbers, if there was some single sign-on type of organizational group and security roles. You wouldn't see this if you hadn't turned on single sign-on. Do they have voicemail to email enabled? What their collaboration access code is, the site name and identifier that they're assigned to. There's some contact information there, like address information and all. Contact name, number, emergency contact, site public, any phones that are assigned to them, both the MAC and the model, and if they're registered online or not. The last time that they had a registration update, and the last update for the user and when they were created. There's a couple other fields like department and SF email, which I couldn't figure out what SF email was, but department is another optional field that you can add in. So there's a lot more information in here than what you typically see in admin. Okay, so this is a great tool for you to use. You can filter them based upon the customer name in here too, the business name. So you see several in here, and I did it from the partner level, so it showed all the customers. But if you wanted to zero in on a few, you could filter down on them. There's another report that's pretty handy, and it is called the Subscriber Provisioning Changes Report. And I just scrolled it as well. So you'll see any subscribers that were changed in the time period that I selected for this report will show up. And so you can see the domain, first and last name, the user ID, the site, the status, the telephone number, email, voicemail to email, the device itself. Am I going to allow end user portal to configure buttons on the phone, the client type, the whether or not I allow international calls, the location, the public number. Am I using the hosted voicemail, conference information, products? And there was an event, okay, that occurred. So the event type was updating the password, okay? It doesn't give me the values because it's password insecure, but what happened? So the password was changed, and it was done on this date, and it was performed by me. SQs is my login from the root level. So you can see what occurred in troubleshooting. There's also the device provisioning. So if someone changes a device, changes a button, something like that, updates firmware, you can see again what happened, the previous value, what field was changed, and who did it. This particular report was empty, so there were no device changes made. But this would also help you see what was enabled. Let's say hot desking was enabled or something like that. The DID provisioning report is another good one for you to see if there's any telephone numbers added, at what level. These were deletions and additions in there, and what numbers. There's also a report called access logs. So you can see who the last person, you can see this manually, but you can also have this downloaded and sent. You can see this was an order fulfillment. You can see there was an account updated, more orders, what login made the change and the date and time. And again, this helps you kind of troubleshoot things as well and understand who's accessing your system. So it's something you definitely should monitor. Then the event detail records, I mentioned this could only be set up through Sftp. And so you set, when you want to do that, you do need to put in order to save it, where those are going to be sent to, and a maximum of 5,000 records can be sent. You should probably be fine doing, however many days. I believe it forces you just to 1 day because of that limit, and you hit save. What is considered an event? An event would be where on hook, off hook, where you make a call. I mean, all these different things make up an actual call, right? All these different events. So they're not SIP messages, but they're events. And so you can get to 5,000 records pretty quickly. So that's why we limit that to just 1 day. All right, so we do have several documents that would give you more information on these. The portal user guide for organizations, that is where it will talk about each of the reports, the metrics, the schedules themselves. The portal guide for partners, you'll see a lot on metrics there. And then of course the API guide, you would want to go in and look at client APIs under account, download, and dashboard and metrics in that. And then of course within the admin portal, you can go over to documentation on the right-hand side and go into authentication and client APIs. We even give you sample code that you can look at from there. All right, so there are a few other things that we recently added that you might find really valuable, and that is if you go over at the reseller level and you click on system, that's something fairly new, and you click on, there's 3 different things here. Let's talk about subscribers first of all. You can type in a search value in this and hit return. It will show up everything. Again, if you're at the reseller level, your partner admin would pick up everything with that search string. So I typed in Sarah, and of course I've got lots of things built in this, but you can see Sarah.Hughes is found in emails, Sarah is in the business name, probably not in that deal, but you can also see if it's using the PMC password, and that's the device password, if that's using it at the site level or none in there, and what telephone number. So this will help you easily figure out where this subscriber is provisioned under and your troubleshooting. If you click on the phone numbers, again, under system phone numbers, and you can type in something here. I was just looking for extension 1010. And again, it will pop up any user IDs, business name, telephone numbers, voicemail, public charge, or even meet me access code. And you'll see 1010 appears in all of these. And 1010 is in these, the root of these primary DIDs. Okay, primary and secondary DIDs in there. All right, so again, it makes it pretty easy. And then under devices, when you click on it, in fact, if you look back here, under both subscribers and phone numbers, you don't see anything until you put something in the search string. But when you're in devices, you're going to see all your devices, and you can go in and let's say I want to, a MAC address, it does have the first 6 are the vendor name and the last 6 are unique. And so if I'm searching for a particular vendor name, like the 004 F2, I believe that is Polycom, then you'll see everything within that 0004 F2. Do you have to put the colons? No, you do not. And so it will again show you all the devices and the business name, the group. If there's a subscriber, this one was assigned to a subscriber here and here. And if it is ready or assigned, ready means it is ready to be assigned in the zero touch provisioning to a subscriber. It hasn't been yet, but this was set up in this business name. Assign means it's already been assigned to a subscriber. All right, so let's talk about Kandy call center reporting. Some of you do have the Kandy call center or call center Lite. Within that, there's a lot of reporting capabilities, and you can ad hoc and schedule reports to be emailed. And each of the report, as you generate it, it comes out with a cover page, and that just kind of summarizes, and that's also helpful in troubleshooting. So if we need to replicate that report, and you can then export these as many different formats: Excel, PDF, Word, CSV, PowerPoint. They keep adding to that. But at the top, you can run the report, export the data. If you want to say, oh, I want all this in comma separated or semicolon separated, you could do that. Export and print the report from there too. So when you schedule a report, you can name it, you can put a description if you want, and at the top of the page is how you set up the report. You want a details report, you want a login, logout report, you want an aggregate report type of thing. There's lots of different things that you can do with that, but when you get into the scheduling portion, this is where you say daily, weekly, monthly automatic on the 15th of the month, or periodically every 60 minutes or 8 hours, 12 hours, you can do those. And then the format, I highly recommend that they always be CSV so that you can edit them and put formulas in, or PDF is an option. You would enter within here, you would enter an email, maybe an email distribution list, and hit add to recipient list. You'd see it here. If you want to remove a particular recipient, you can hit the X and hit save, and then it will be scheduled from that point on. Okay. So here are some examples of some of the reports. This is login, logout reports. You can see them by queue. You can see them by agents. You can see the details or daily reports. There's lots of different filters that you can perform. And then here's a details report that gives you per queue the calling party, who they were called, who they were calling, the start time, end time, wait time, talk time is conversation time, what happened to that, and the destination number. If there is an operator, that means this is the agent that answered it. Okay, so if you're wanting for just an abandoned call report, you can do that. You can filter on call type abandoned. I'm going to go through these because I want to get to the analytics portion here as well. So this is an aggregate report by operator. These are your agents, and number of calls each took, how much talk time, total talk time. You can run these by hourly, daily, monthly. You can run queue reports, hourly, daily, monthly, and then you can run hourly, daily, monthly queue reports. Now, what's the difference is what the left-hand margin is organized by. Okay. You can also do an aggregated service report, so it shows the queue itself, and this is by day and what occurred in that. This is also a great report to help you understand the how quickly your team is handling or answering those reports. All right, and an hourly queue report tells you, again, it's the same thing, only that one is an aggregate by service. It's the same thing. This is an hourly of the same and a daily of the same. All right, if you do have historical, or if you do have live support, there are historical reports within that, and you can put in your date range and any particular departments or queues you want, any particular agents. The request type would be voice, text, video, that kind of thing. And then you can choose some additional fields down here. And if you do, some of them are mutually exclusive. You hit view, it'll be there on your screen, and then you can download it from there. There are also, you can go into service requests and you can see a list of your service requests. You can filter on those, and then you can look at each one of these, including seeing and monitoring the call recordings or the chat transcriptions as needed. Okay, so someone asked about how to find the metrics section. So I'm going to show you where that's at. So the metrics is now called assurance. Okay, we've changed that. And so within assurance, you have 3 tabs, but you also have analytics in there. So the call statistics area is one, depending upon if you look at it from a partner or you look at it from a customer as you drill down, either one. This may take a few minutes to bring up, especially if you've got lots going on, but it will give you under the call statistics report, it will give you a graphical representation. You can hover over these data points here and it will tell you how many calls were attempted, completed, abandoned, and so on during that time frame. You can hit this to refresh or this little chart, bar chart, and that will give you the ability to look at last month, last week, last day. Okay, and then at the bottom here, you can put in the search string if you're looking for something in particular. You can also download this bottom area of the report. You can schedule a report from this view. And if you hit show details, I'm going to show you what that looks like, then it will give you, for instance, I've got under this demos and trials here, I've got 195 members. You could then drill down on each of these two under these links here. But if I hit the show details, then it will replace this with the start time, answered time, end time, the details about those calls, whether they're on net, off net, what occurred to that. And you'll see that this details here changes back to a filter. So it's a toggle to take it back. And then this also will take you back up one level. So that's how to read these. So if you want to look at details on UCD groups, park, hunt groups, and that, you can drill down. They'll be shown in here as well. Or you can search for that number here, and then you can schedule reports from that. If you go into analytics and you go into, or assurance and you go into analytics, these are the dashboards that we have. We've added these over the last year. And over on the left-hand side, the 3 lines, when you click that, it does show a CDR and a quality of service. You see this from you, the partner level, but also from your customer level. And if you click this white circle over here, it'll change into a home. It'll take you back to the Kandy admin. There's some other things in here, suitcase and this, that I'll show in a later time. But let's talk about the Cdr board. So this will show you, and you can point, that's very interactive in this, you can point and click and you can see different things and toggle them off from showing. But you can see total calls, inbound calls, outbound, and on-net calls. And if you click on any of these underneath here, that will also take them off so that they're not shown. There is an advanced search area. You can click in here and say how far back that you want to go, and you can export this as PDF if you want. So I'm going to show you this interactively, but I'm going to step you through what these are. The next, as you scroll down, then the next thing you'll see are direction-based call activities, inbound, outbound, and on net. And you can see each of these. You can zoom in on them, you can filter, and you can also export these as well. Each one of these little boxes can be exported. In the event base, you can see what happened to these, and as you, like the other, as you hover over, you can see what occurred. And you can zoom in, zoom out, you can filter, and you can export these too. The average duration in seconds, call, hold, park, and ring. You'll notice we don't do a lot of parking in this. There's a little bit here and there, but not a lot. And then as you scroll down in this dashboard, you also have duration metrics on the direction of calls, on net, meaning internal, station to station, inbound, outbound, and other things like hold and park. And then the top users are here. You can make this longer. You can export each one of these and you can search within this as well. And then as you scroll down the very bottom, are the raw CDRs. So you could get them in the Sftp, but now you can go in and download these as well. You may not get all the different fields that you would get in the Sftp, but you will get, you can download the start and answer, end, calling, called, charge ID, what happened to it, and whether it was on net or off net. So this would help you very quickly be able to tell, you know, how long it was ringing and troubleshooting and all. You can search within this as well. You can pull this down and you can see many more rows than what I show here, or you can use the pagination left, right to beginning and end. Now, within the filtering in the CDR, you have to go in and select at least one customer first. Okay, so if you were in here, you're like, oh, I thought I had other fields, but you do have to select at least one customer. And then you click Add New Field, and when you do, you can click over in this area and you'll see you can search on just a certain subscriber or subscribers. And you can say equals, doesn't equal to, includes, contains, whatever. First name, last name, site, a call answer group. You can, if you've populated the field for department in there, you can use that. Inbound, outbound is the direction, duration. These are two fields that we added in the last release that came out the end of February, the 1st of March, DID number and DID number range. You can put all these together and you can save this as a favorite and hit apply. Now everything that you see is based upon that. Okay, and let me see here. Yes, let me log in right quick. I'm going to move this over. And I'm going to go to assurance. That's where the schedules and all were. And analytics, you can see the dashboard here. And as these come up. Now, this area, you can hit this. It's showing the last hour, but you can hit this and you can make this absolute, so a certain time frame, or relative, the last 3 minutes ago, hours, days, and so on. However you want to do that. And you can see each one of these. As I mentioned, you can hover over these, you can zoom in, zoom out, you can filter in them if you want to. You can also download these to CSV. That's mostly what I would do, or a graphic, either one. And as I showed below, you can change the rows of these and you can download them from here. I'm also going to show you on the left-hand side here under the quality of service. While I'm in here, I have slides on it, but I'm going to go ahead and just show this. I'm going to make this months ago to now, and this, it'll change it, and you'll see the quality of service. Now, this is using RTCP-XR, but it's also at the end of every call, you can see it will send with the phones, it'll send information back to us on that call quality. So you can see the total events, the max MOS score, the minimum and average. And see on each one of these, I can remove unacceptable. There you go. And you can see the average MOS score and the raw MOS score data. And again, you can filter upon these. So that's something that has been added new. Let me also, here we are, back to this. So I showed you this and the data. Within the quality of service filtering, again, you have to add at least one customer, and you're able to then look at the subscriber, the site, or searching for a particular MOS score. Add that in, choose that, and then hit apply and save your favorite if needed. To anytime access your favorite searches, you can come back here and get back to them. Within the analytics within Kandy Call Center, the supervisor console has this. So you can see peg counts and charts, as well as what's going on, waiting calls, conversation, talk time, how well you're meeting your service level agreements. You can also see peg counts for each queue, how many agents you have available who are in wrap-up time, or wrap-up time here, ACW, after call work, not available and not ready. You can see how many waiting calls, abandons, active, and so on. You can also see call details, how many are active on with agents and what agent it is, as well as how many are waiting to be answered. And you can see for each one of your agents what they're logged in and not logged in as, what queues they're assigned, and their status change, as well as their skill levels. Within live support, you can also see statistics, and those statistics are found in the dashboard under statistics, and each supervisor can control the thresholds and all in their dashboards. Finally, and I appreciate everybody for staying on with us here. We've gone over just a little bit, but under the CDR and the QoS dashboard, one thing that we're adding in the next release that's coming out the end of March, the 1st of April, is a new board called Collaboration, and that's coming out. It's going to give you details on the attendees of the Smart Office Collaboration, the peak attendees, concurrent conferences, peak conferences, and a lot of information around attendee metrics and how long those sessions were for. So that will give you a better indication of that. And similarly, you have the ability to download these, all of these particular boards, but you also have API access to pull them into your metrics. So were there any additional questions? So if you'll put them in the chat. I do have, when I send this out at the end of this presentation, I do have some of those fields for those particular reports listed. But again, that documentation that's found on the partner portal. And let me grab that again here. Within the partner portal under documentation, we have on the partner documentation, the administration provisioning for customers and partners. So as well as the API guide will give you lots of information there. Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining us, and appreciate your time, appreciate your business. And we'll be sending this out to everybody who registered. And if you found this useful and feel like somebody else within your organization would definitely benefit from seeing this, then please forward that to them and have them also log in and watch the replay. Thank you so much for your business and your time. Have a great day, morning, afternoon, or evening.